Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Midcast KSMA. Today we have got a guest with us who is been from Austria, and currently he is a part of KSMA, a very essential part of KSMA. Today we have got with us a physician, Dr. Helmut Roniger. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thank you very much.
It's so nice to have you on the sets. Sir, can you please take us through the journey, your journey from Austria to South Africa to UK and finally Kyrgyzstan?
Okay, that will be a long trip. Yeah, so I'm a born Austrian. I studied in Vienna, my original studies, and at the age of 25, due to I got the opportunity to go to South Africa to practice medicine after I finished my studies there. So I went to Cape Town and was part of Stellenbosch University Hospital, at Tygerberg Hospital, and did my full Austrian housemanship training and the South African housemanship training there for 3 years, so 6 months of which was in surgery in Windhoek, and it was a very interesting experience for a European, because there you had a fantastic mix of first world medicine and third world medicine. South Africa had at that stage the numbers 2 and number 4 ranked university in the world. So they had and the university, the neighboring university, did the first heart transplant. So they were very good in training, and one had fantastic practical training on the patients. So in fourth year you did assist cesarean sections. You did 30 assist in 30 births, or something you would maybe as a fully qualified gynecologist in Austria claim to have got. And you did that already as a student, as a house doctor there. Yeah. So it was a very interesting experience for me practically as well. I was always interested in complementary medicine, tried to integrate it into conventional medicine. So after my initial 3 years, I registered as a GP in South Africa and in Austria, and went back to Austria for a year, trained in Chinese medicine, worked as a GP in Austria, and went to China for about 6 weeks to Fujian province and did a course in traditional Chinese medicine. It was also interesting at that stage. You had one-to-one tuition where you got from 8 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock in the evening with Tai Chi, Qigong, and private tutoring with the professors with a translator for $1,000 for a whole month. That one could only dream of these prices in the West. So it was very interesting experience, and I was phoned by my professor in South Africa, who offered me a job to train in internal medicine again in Cape Town. So I went back to Cape Town and trained for a further 5 years in internal medicine, where I did the normal rotation there. Also very practical, and became did a master's degree in medicine, as a master's of medicine. It was a part of this with a thesis. And then after that, I went for a year traveling the world and did a course in homeopathy in Germany. And after that course in homeopathy in Germany, I went for 4 months to India and toured all the yoga medical schools, like Bihar School of Yoga, and all the homeopathic colleges and some of the Ayurvedic colleges, which was a very interesting exercise. And when I came back, I found an post advertised at the Royal London Homeopathic Hospital at that stage, and applied for it and got the job. I was overqualified actually, because I was already a specialist and all kind of things. But it was, for me, very interesting, because there you could practice a mixture of conventional and complementary medicine within the NHS system. So I spent there then 23 years. So ran the journal club, and we became part of University College London Hospital. We saw all the complex cases like chronic fatigue, long COVID, cancer, complementary cancer care, all the chronic pain conditions where normal conventional medicine has actually not really good answers to, because there's not a drug you can throw at somebody. It's more lifestyle medicine. And over this time I had really experienced the opportunity to question sometimes the system, and because when there are conventional medicine is very good in acute medicine, no doubt about that. If I have a car accident or operation, or if I have a septicemia, I want to have my antibiotic and my drugs to survive. But when it comes to chronic disease, then it's already very iffy, and there are lots of opinions and lots of a little bit of corrupted science as well. What we have now discovered. I mean, and then I spent there 23 years and met my Kyrgyz wife in London, and we moved to. I retired then during the pandemic there in London, largely to pursue my real interest, which is lifestyle medicine, fasting. I was already 10 years into fasting. I did a course in cancer at Harvard. I did a course in research at Harvard before that. And I was interested in establishing there's a new paradigm, particularly in cancer, but not only in cancer. It applies for nearly all of the chronic diseases, where ketogenic diet is very much used. So the ketogenic diet, which is a diet closer to our ancestral diet, because we didn't eat much sugar and carbohydrates in the past, when in the Stone Age. That came only later with agriculture, first probably in the Americas and in other parts. So vegetarianism is only a recent development in our evolution, and we are not really perfectly yet, I would say, perfectly adapted to it. We can obviously do very well with vegetarianism, but it is not as tricky. Not as a tricky business. With there one has to supplement actually. And there's lots of misunderstanding in the literature as well, and also a little bit of corruption going on, in my view. So then, during the time in London, I befriended the Kyrgyz ambassador there, and he invited me now to come to Kyrgyzstan and try to teach my insights here to a broader audience, and maybe do a few studies, because lifestyle medicine is cheaper than conventional drug medicine. It's probably more applicable to the situation in Kyrgyzstan, but still needs good research, and for that you need to join a leading institution. And so that's more or less where I am now at this time.
So, sir, you talked about conventional medicine and complementary medicine. First of all, how much are there differences, and how much both of these medicines are correlated? And the main important question is, you have traveled across the world. Is it only that landscapes have changed, or patients and their behavior is also different? Humans are more or less similar all over the world. There are obviously genetic differences which make you slightly prone to more prone to certain illnesses, no doubt about that. And obviously certain cultures are prone to certain lifestyles which might again be attached to certain illnesses as well. Yeah? So it's there's this, but the nice thing about being a doctor, you can work everywhere. You have to just deal with the local regulations and the language. So, it's a very diplomatic answer, to be honest.
Maybe also there is obviously major differences in countries about financeability of therapy. That's maybe the other major difference in different countries. I mean, you cannot expect the same kind of level of treatment in the countryside in South Africa as you have in Boston or in Vienna, because you have just a different level of coverage with how many physicians you have per patient and how many scans you have, what's available in drugs, etc. But in my experience, drugs are mainly relevant in acute disease to keep us alive. Obviously, if you have got a failing thyroid, we need thyroxine and these type of things. But when it comes to a chronic disease, even type 2 diabetes, more and more relevant, a lifestyle becomes more and more relevant, and lifestyle should not only be understood as a prophylaxis to prevent disease, but actually as a therapeutic intervention. And this is something the system is not geared yet to do. We need more nutritionists, for instance, to help people to, for instance, in the ketogenic diet or also physiotherapists, sleep therapists, stress therapists, etc. So all these factors together then bring upon health.
Talking about everything, what was actually that one thing which inspired you to consider complementary medicine more than that conventional medicine?
Well, I went to university in Vienna, and Vienna we had a very socialist government there. It was very open to other approaches as well. So we had a professor for homeopathy at the university. It was extracurricular, but he nevertheless gave lectures, and a professor for acupuncture. So there was 2 professors actually. So I attended these classes, and I had a friend who was an anthroposophist. I don't know if you know anthroposophical medicine. It's Rudolf Steiner. It's they use homeopathy and herbs and a very little bit of esoteric branch of medicine, I would say. So they have a 3 partition of the body into the nervous pole and the metabolic pole and the rhythmic system in the middle. So it's just a different way to look at the body outside the conventional view. Because complementary medicine can give you insights in a more holistic way to look at. Similarly, with Chinese medicine, you have got this kind of observational data, which stem from thousands of years of observation in Chinese medicine or in Ayurveda, where they maybe haven't got the kind of scientific basis. They haven't dissected into microscopy and did a biochemical analysis of it. They just observed, if you take this herb, then this happens, and you feel warm and cold. They have got these things, and they add, if you go into these systems, they add to your understanding of disease. Even in Austria, we have a long-standing tradition. First of all, the leader or the founder of homeopathy was an Austrian, Hahnemann. He was actually a Romanian. He was born in the German-speaking part of Romania, but it was part of the Austrian-Hungarian monarchy at that stage. And we have a very strong tradition of spa treatments. Mm-hmm. So I worked for a year after my retiring in London, in Austria, in a Meyer clinic. Meyer was a gastroenterologist who basically was treating everything with fasting at the turn of the century, 19th to 20th century. In Karlsbad, which was in southern Czechia. Today's Czechia, but at that stage was still German-speaking part of Austria. There, you didn't have many drugs at that stage. People were overweight, and he came up with a whole system. Observed when you fast people, they always get better. This is not based on his observation only. I mean, this fasting is already known for a very long tradition in religions. Hippocrates was a Greek philosopher and mathematician, if you want, or Pythagoras was that. Pythagoras, if you wanted to join his philosophical school, you had to fast for 3 days.
Yeah.
So there's all this kind of functional understanding, so functional medicine. And functional medicine has become more and more the theme in medicine, in conventional medicine nowadays, because we realize, lifestyle plays a role, what we eat, the quality what we eat, the micronutrients, we eat too much carbs, that is no doubt about that, what type of carbs we eat, and then all this came together in me, arriving here at this stage of my career.
So, sir, you just mentioned about the fasting. For a regular audience, how will you teach them that how is fasting different from the hunger?
Okay, fasting is natural, eating every day is unnatural. First of all, consider that. Yeah, we are not designed to eat every day. And in nature, we never ate every day. Yeah, maybe in the tropics. Yeah. So that we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's a kind of maybe we are spoiled brats, so to speak, and we are now unfortunately reaping the negative side effect of eating too much and eating all the wrong stuff. So what I would say is we're designed to fast. And we are actually a very efficient organism. Yeah, we have got nearly unlimited fat supply, and as long as we have fat, which means that it's until the body mass index of about 19, we hardly lose any muscle mass when we fast. Particularly if we fast totally. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If we eat 100,000 calories, actually that's the interesting thing. The fact, because you suppress. This is now the physiology. As a fact of fasting, our somatotropic hormone goes up as a protection for our muscle body, and it nearly goes 5 times up in 2-3 days. And that protects our muscle mass, so that we can switch to ketogenic, that we live from our fat. The switch takes 5 days. So in normal Islamic fasting, also Ramadan fasting, then that was basically designed in Arabia. So it's 55 degrees in the shadow. It was there. I would say it makes sense that you don't eat during the day. It's easy to get accepted in the whole population. It is known at that stage, it was already known to physicians there that it is healthy to fast, and to instigate such a hygienic measure to the whole population was a very clever idea for me. It doesn't have to be religious to understand that. But this is only scratching on the surface of the benefits of fasting. Yeah, that there are benefits of that, is no doubt. It is actually more beneficial to fast in these areas where it's not as hot during the day. To fast during the day is slightly more beneficial. But nevertheless, it's still better to fast during the night. And if we fast for longer than 2-3 days, we switch into ketosis. And ketosis is an ancient protective state, which is basically we rid our body of all poorly functional cells, which are all senile cells, get pushed into suicide, apoptosis.
Okay.
And also all cancer cells, pre-cancer cells get also. So if you regularly fast, Ramadan fasting will be already a first step, but if you're already worried, maybe you have sinned a little bit too much, and maybe you do a little more longer fast, you can easily do it. In the Bible, we have, or even Muhammad, I think 40-day fasts, whereas the 40 days is maybe just a symbolic number, but 40 days is achievable for a normal weight person without going into starvation. Starvation, I I would call when you start eating into your lean tissue, muscle and organs, which is not healthy. Right? The immune system goes down, and when you have anorexia nervosa, but these has usually people who are below a body mass index of 19.
Okay. So, as you mentioned that you went to India and you went to Ayurvedic institutions. For example, if I am new to integrative medicine, how will you explain me things not sounding like an Ayurvedic expert or a yoga retreat brochure? You just in a simple ways, how would you say that these are effective, yoga and Ayurveda?
Well, yoga is basically a very effective in because it's physiological observations. You have these yogis who through thousands of years trained themselves to do, we call it, nearly impossible feats. They could reduce the metabolic rate, that they could survive in a locked up in the box for a week, because the oxygen level, they basically go into hibernation. They could, most humans have lost the ability to hibernate, but the yogis could still tap into this kind of natural ability of most mammals. So through breathing, pranayama, breath control. So there is wisdom in this, and obviously mind control with meditation, and as a stress relief method, mindfulness meditation is now well established in the West as a scientific method to relax and even have positive effects on cancer and all kinds of diseases, because stress with the raised cortisol plays a role in all disease as a cofactor.
So you just mentioned that mind and body. While treating a patient, how much is that important, the growth of the mind? As you already mentioned that they can survive in these situations, yogis, where a normal human being will not. So is it that much important, and how much the need of this is to be done with the regular patients?
Well, I think that is an example that there is deep knowledge on how from an empiristic point of view, in the yogic tradition about how the body works. And it is similarly acquired like in Ayurveda or in Chinese medicine through long-standing observation. And there are some mistakes, surely, in some of these things, but there is truth in it. And my kind of mission was as well to kind of find what can one use from this vast knowledge of experience. This data set, so to speak.
Sir, one of the main questions which has been raised is about that Ayurvedic medicine, it has been considered more human as compared to the conventional medicine, which is considered more mechanical. So, would you justify, because you have done both of the things, so...
Ayurveda is basically... conventional medicine can be said is insofar... more materialistic and less natural, because it's all based on petrochemical medicine. Up to the end of the 19th century, at the beginning of the 20th century, there was an equally strong school in the West of functional medicine. You had about equal amounts of homeopathic universities and colleges and herbalists and naturopaths than conventional hospitals, and the general possibility is that the general difference is that in a conventional Western medicine, with the petrochemical medicine, we have drugs which are patented, then an effect is established, and then we give this drug. In the functional other part of medicine, there we see us just as directors of the body's natural defenses, so to speak. We don't want to interfere too much. So we give sometimes strong herbs, there's no doubt, but often you give in Ayurveda, you give just massages, oil, which have a mild effect, push you, you meditate, all these kind of stress relief techniques. Massaging is also very stress relieving. You have yogic, so stretching of the muscles to keep your body in shape. You do a nutritional or fasting therapy so that you cleanse your body through this. And basically this supports our body's natural defense and healing abilities. Whereas in conventional medicine, we are kind of, maybe we delude us that we can understand this complexity of our amazing complex organism. We can just interfere and we can tell the body that what to do. Yeah, and that is true in acute disease, and that was very successful in acute disease. Yeah, and that must be said. There, conventional medicine is unbeatable. No other medical stream was as successful in keeping people short-term alive with antibiotics, with hormones, with strong drugs than with herbal medicine, which is more iffy, but obviously more natural. Yeah, because you get a whole mix of alkaloids, which have positive and negative effects, and then the body takes actually what they want, but it is less reproducible, not patentable. That's another huge problem, because in the end it's about how do you finance the research and how you then profit from this. This is very much the theme in conventional medicine.
Yes, sir. Another question which has been raised over here is that in a world of evidence-based medicine, how would you first of all justify the procedures like acupuncture and this? Well, and the second question which is associated to this is that now in the medicine there are protocols to follow, and at the same time if you are following the complementary medicine, you are not following those protocols, and if a patient is being treated, what about those protocols?
Well, I mean, in London we were very much pushed to follow protocols, and with complementary medicine as well. And I was involved in research in complementary medicine. But the general problem in complementary medicine research, as it's also psychotherapy, for instance, and other lifestyle medicine in general, like fasting, it's not patentable. You have to understand that to develop one drug at the moment costs about $5 to $10 billion, the development of one drug to market. So you have to go through this whole process. Yeah, this can only be financed if you have a patent for 20 to 25 years on this. On acupuncture, you can't patent acupuncture. You can't patent a herb. There have been attempts in concoctions, but they didn't really work very well because they can easily be copied and can get around. So the problem is if you then do a huge study for whether $20 million or $100 million for this amount of patients, which are necessary to prove beyond any doubt that this works, then you will have the problem that another one will, if it's not patented, somebody will steal it and will reap the benefits of your research. So that's the general problem, the downside of patentability. Patentability obviously was also the root of the Industrial Revolution, made it possible, and was a big boon for development in technology and also therapies. But it has the downside that the good old is cast away, which is particular when it comes to our body and our normal natural health. The good old might be actually more the answer than the amazing new shiny technology.
No, we obviously these are the answers which we can get, but when we are discussing specifically about the complementary medicine, as we already mentioned in the evidence-based medicine, there is a part of responsibility to the doctor, where they are answerable and they are responsible for their medical errors. What about these errors if they are in the conventional medicine, in the complementary medicine?
Well, I mean, the important thing is that you never do harm. Yeah. So I talked about the general possibility to find funding for complementary medicine, which was often much cheaper and much more rational if you look at it. But you can't find funding because nobody can milk it, so to speak, afterwards. But you can then find if there is something which you can introduce to the conventional treatment, which is cheap and is not dangerous, or is like fasting, for instance. No ethical committee will be able to really say no to add a fasting arm to people who are, obviously you have exclusion criteria. Certain people you mustn't fast, but the majority of the population will be doing very well with fasting. And if you introduce that and you just do a trial on that, and that is what I'm more or less here, my mission to do here. So besides teaching, I want to do a study on cancer, maybe also on diabetes, introducing maybe ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting and other therapies.
Coming towards this topic, why Kyrgyzstan? Were the mountains?
Well, multifactorial, opportunity, because I was frustrated a little bit by not getting my research through the committees because they're dangerous to certain corporations, and if they are not so, that was one thing. Then opportunity that I was offered this opportunity. Then my wife is Kyrgyz, and I love mountains, Austrians. Here the mountains are double as high as in our highest mountain. Also, is 3,700 meters. We have here 7,500 meter mountains.
Yes, sir. Sir, I read that you were involved in an health spa activity. How much are we near to turning a school into a world wellness destination?
Well, I do believe that Kyrgyzstan could become a top spot in the world for health spas, tourism in beautiful surrounding, and healthy food, food production. You have got amazing nature, still very clean, highly intelligent and educated population, a booming economy. So I think there is a huge opportunity here.
Okay, so. There is an important part of our medcast is about the myth busting.
About the?
Busting the myths.
The myth busting,
yeah. Some myths which you like to bust today on our sets about the complementary medicine.
Well, I would say the main myth maybe is don't be afraid of fasting. So fasting. Think about it like this: fasting is natural, regular fasting, whereas eating every day is not natural to us. We are designed to fast regularly, and you would have a lower incidence of cancer, diabetes, dementia, all kinds of diseases if you fast on a regular basis.
All right. Any of your weirdest or surprising moment with a patient? Any scenario, any situation?
Well, there are lots, but I maybe have this a bit. Well, I had. I think what comes to mind, I had a patient in London, who was a doctor, who had 2 children, who breastfed her children up to the age of 15, and I was sitting there as a doctor, and had to kind of slowly break it to her that this is not really healthy. Breast milk, of course, there's benefits to it.
Yeah.
That was probably one of my oddest encounters, if you think that. So, yeah.
So, coming towards the end of the podcast, you have to pick one: needles or pills.
What for treatment?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, in most cases, pills. I mean, if you know how to use them.
Okay.
But for certain conditions, needles, headache, needles, definitely. Needles. Don't go take any pills for headaches. I can cure your headache within a few seconds.
Spa or hospital?
For chronic disease, spa.
For chronic, it is.
For acute disease, intensive care unit, highly toxic treatments, hospital.
And the final, mind or body?
Well, I think you can't separate this. They are one. Mind and body is one. So we have to understand that the body influences the mind and the other way around. Even our microbiome influences our mind. We know now when you get stool transplants, you take on some of the characteristics of the person you got that stool transplant from.
And sir, one of the belief about the health that every medical student or even from our audience, everyone should learn. That one belief about the health.
Well, I think I would say to keep it simple, yes, fasting is very good, but exercise is very important. Sleep is very important because we are nowadays with our screen addiction. I think on average, the last 10 years, we lost nearly an hour's sleep, which is devastating, which is associated with dementia and with other neurological problems. So we need to learn to say no to all our nice things which industry and our modern life has given us. Yeah, so. We are basically a little bit spoiled, and to be healthy, we need to discipline ourselves more.
And sir, if you can go back in time and you can advise your younger self, a younger one who is currently going into the med school, what advice that would be?
Well, I mean, I think I wouldn't want to do it either very exciting career. I don't know. I have no regrets actually. So if you have been that, so that I would have done it otherwise. I was just fell into an interesting path of medical career.
Okay, sir. At the end, any advice to our audience? Any message? Anything?
Well, stay always on the side of the patient as a doctor. I mean, I think you have also the Hippocratic oaths. Nowadays, it's so much. It's become a problem that we become just tick box exercise. People of some kind of industrial interest, and there is a backlash. Fortunately, I mean, I'm very impressed with the new American health minister Robert Kennedy, which he finally tries to fight the corporate establishment, and improves on the food standards in the really terrible food standards in the United States. Which is a shame because it's the richest country in the world. So if I can say anything good about the Trump,
this is one of the.
This is one of the only one I would say.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for being on the set. It was so interesting gossip. It was very nice to have you on the sets. Thank you so much for being on the sets of Medcast. And for our audience, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.
Okay.